Introduction. Email marketing is hands down the most powerful and effective form of online marketing. Nothing comes close. Seriously, even search marketing with all its hype and tried and proven success can't even hold a candle to just how effective list marketing can be. It's easy to see why. Survey after survey, marketing firms keep putting email marketing at or near the top of their advertising preferences. Here are the reasons why. Through email marketing, you can get in front of the eyeballs of your audience members anytime and anywhere. That's right. You can be at a beach in the Bahamas somewhere writing an email update. Plug that into your email service provider, and your audience, regardless of where they may be in the world and regardless of what they're doing, are sure to get your email. After all, most people check their email inboxes. Isn't that awesome? This enables you to sell more products. Since you have a de facto relationship with people who voluntarily got on your mailing list, you were able to keep the conversation going. You don't get just one bite at the apple to try to get list members to buy. Every time you send an update, you get a chance to convert some of your audience members into buyers. Through email, you also get to keep in touch with the needs of your audience. It's like you're plugged into what they need, what they're looking for, and the problems that they face. After all, that's the reason why they joined your mailing list in the first place. They're looking for solutions and answers that your list can provide. This enables you to keep a steady flow of traffic to your blog or online store. Now, this traffic may not convert right there and then, but the fact that it is constant enables you to get many bites at the apple. You don't just get a one-shot chance at converting online traffic. That traffic can come back again and again with each and every update that you send. If you've heard great things about social media, you might want to think again. Social media marketing faces many challenges because of the evolving algorithms of platforms like Facebook. As the years go by, Facebook is sending less and less organic traffic. Even if you have a big Facebook fan page with a gigantic following, you'd be lucky for your page posts to reach a tiny fraction of your following. It's getting worse and worse with each passing year. With email marketing, you have a higher chance of reaching your complete mailing list instead of being at the mercy of these changing social media platform algorithms. It really all boils down to how well you write your headlines and how targeted your list recruitment is. If you did your homework and you played your cards right, you stand to reach a much larger percentage of your list audience. This is not the case with a typical Facebook fan page. Finally, with your own email list, you stay in control of your access to your audience. You can even download your list members' email addresses as you move from one email service provider to the next. This list is your asset. It's not going away anytime soon. Given all these amazing reasons, it's no wonder lots of old-school online marketers say the money is in the list. But wait. If you have just jumped in with both feet into email marketing, I've got some bad news for you. You're probably going to fail. There, I said it. You can fail by putting up a list, but it doesn't attract many members. Attracting enough people to your list, but most don't open your emails. Building a huge list of people with many opening your emails, but most don't buy anything. The sad reality is that the vast majority of people who try their hand at email marketing have very little to show for it. They spend money every single month on their email service provider only to come up empty-handed. Failure in email marketing comes in many different forms because people try many different things. Marketers also have many different circumstances and priorities. However, they all lead to the same place: very low to no income. If you want to get into email marketing and enjoy the amazing passive income it can produce for you, you are watching the best training to get you started. Seriously, no other training comes close, because almost any other training out there tries to pump you up about email marketing. They get you all hyped up, but they leave you high and dry. How come? They do not take you through a systematic and methodical way of doing modern email marketing. Let me tell you, the old tricks no longer work. Get rid of them. Don't get excited by them. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Unfortunately, almost every other email list marketing training out there keeps rehashing the same stuff. In this guide, you are going to get just what you need to succeed in the highly competitive yet also highly lucrative world of email marketing. Put simply, I will take you through the process of putting up a modern email list, one that is engineered to succeed from the ground up. I have trimmed off all the fat. There is no fluff in this training. Instead, you're going to get clear, easy to understand concepts that you need to wrap your mind around for you to be successful. Step number 1. Be clear on who you wish to market to. If you have a fuzzy idea of who your target audience is, you are going to fail with email marketing. You really are. You might as well give up now if you are chasing after some sort of vague defined market. Audience identification is crucial for niche list marketing. You cannot just target everybody. You have to drill down to a specific population of people who are trying to solve a fairly narrow set of problems. This is how you define their needs. By directly addressing the needs of these individuals, conducting enough consumer research and speaking their language, you would be able to convert a high percentage of them from website visitors to list members to product buyers. It is crucial that you go from raw traffic to dollars in your bank account. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. All the traffic in the world is not going to add 1 red cent to your bank account unless you target a specific niche market and give its audience the solutions that they are looking for. Finding the right audience. So how do you know which audience you should target? There are many different audiences out there. All of them cluster around a specific range of needs or problems. Well, it all boils down to commercial value of those needs. There are many problems out there that people are not going to pay top dollar to solve. Sure, people are looking for the right DVD set of headphones, but there is a limit to people's budgets. Different problems have different priorities. You need to find a niche that has enough commercial value. One way to estimate this is to use Google AdWords Keyword Planner and do cost per click research on keywords related to your niche. If you notice that advertisers are willing to pay a lot of money per click on those keywords, then you're in a good spot. Chances are there is enough commercial demand for that niche. People are willing to pay a significant amount of money to solve problems related to your niche. It's also important to make sure that you are targeting a niche that is big enough. Sure, there are lots of advertisers willing to pay a tremendous amount of money for structured settlement keyword traffic. We're talking about more than $20 per click. The problem is, the volume of searches for that niche is actually quite low. Make sure the niche you are targeting has enough demand as indicated by Google Keyword Planner. This tool not only tells you how much advertisers are willing to pay per click, but it will also give you an estimate of the volume of searches for keywords related to that niche. You're looking for a nice combination of decent commercial value with decent traffic volume. Finally, you should also pay attention to competition levels. If you pick a niche that is extremely competitive with gigantic brands monopolizing pretty much all the search volume for keywords related to that niche, you probably are going to have a tough time making inroads. You should look for a niche that is somewhat competitive, but not so competitive that there's absolutely no space for newcomers. How do you do competitive research? Very simple. Just get all the Google Keyword Planner tool keywords for the niches you are interested in. Plug them one by one into Google search box and you will see the number of pages competing for those keywords. This should give you a clear enough idea of how competitive certain niches are. At the end of this process, you should have a short list of niches that have decent commercial appeal and enough search volume every single month. Consider these 3 factors. Find your customers online. I've got some great news for you. Regardless of the niche that you selected, chances are very high your customers are already online. You just need to find them. This doesn't mean that there is a dedicated website that caters specifically to your niche audience. Instead, your niche audience members may simply be asking questions related to your niche. Maybe they're sharing infographics or photos and videos related to your niche. Whatever the case may be, they're already online exchanging content. Your job is to find all these areas online and listen to them. That's the main key you need to do for consumer intelligence. Pay attention to the words that they're using. Pay attention to the solutions that they're already talking about. Understand the shortcomings of the solutions people are already aware of. If you spend enough time on these online platforms like forums, message boards, Facebook groups, Facebook pages, Twitter accounts, Reddit, subreddits, and Quora or other question and answer platforms, you should have a clear understanding of who your audience members are and their expectations. You should also have a fairly clear idea of who your competitors are. I've got some bad news for you. Regardless of your niche, you probably already have competitors. This is not depressing news. Instead, you could use this to your advantage. Find the competitors competing for your target audience. Create a long list of them. Look for both direct and indirect competitors. Reverse engineer your competitors. Once you have a clear idea of who your competitors are, reverse engineer what they're doing. How do they speak to the needs of the people you're trying to reach? What do their websites look like? What kind of social media accounts do they have? What kind of content do they use for marketing purposes? How are their pages designed? You have to keep these and other related questions in mind as you research one competitor after another. After you've spent some time asking these questions and processing your competitors in a systematic and methodical way, you should have a clear idea of what your niche industry standard is. You would quickly find out that your niche competitors tend to look alike. They tend to address the same problems. They tend to have the same solutions. Their social media accounts tend to look similar to each other. Be mindful of this. Look at these similarities and understand that this is the industry standard in your niche. Whatever website or social media account or mailing list you come up with must fit the industry standard. Please understand that when you figure out the industry standard in your niche, it just gives you a place to start. You shouldn't start and end there. If anything, it just gives you a head start instead of fumbling around to come up with the right squeeze page or mailing list marketing materials for your niche. It gives you a place to start. What industry standard item should you look for? Pay attention to your competitor's squeeze page layout. This is a sign-up page your competitors use to get their target audience members to sign up for their mailing list. Pay attention to how they lay out these pages. What kind of pictures do they use? What kind of text do they present? How do they format their text? Do they tell stories? Do they show videos? Next, pay attention to their sales funnel layout. Your competitors have a standard way of getting people to sign up to the mailing list and also selling those list members to a wide range of products and services. Be aware of how they do this. How do they take prospects through the sales process? Understand that their ultimate goal is to get list members to buy something. Try to figure out how their sales funnel is laid out and how it seeks to convert list members. Pay attention to the kind of freebies or incentives your competitors offer to get people to sign up to their mailing list. Do they use cheat sheets or short reports? Do they give away full books? Do they attract list members by offering a special video? Do they promise some sort of insider information that people have to sign up for to access? Be aware of the specific industry standard digital incentive your competitors give out. You're going to have to offer the same. You can tweak this later on, but you need to start out with this type of incentive. Subsequently, pay attention to the updates that they send. Do they talk about news and events? Do they seek to teach email recipients a wide range of solutions? Finally, pay attention to the stuff that they are promoting in their emails. You can bet that your competitors are sending out emails intended to make them money. If you click on the right link, it would lead you to a product they hope you would buy. The same goes with services. Pay attention to these. Identify the most common products that they push with their updates. Again, this forms the industry standard in your niche. Look for the industry standard because this is where you will start. It doesn't mean you have to start and end your email list marketing activities with the industry standard. Instead, it just gives you a tremendous head start because you're not fumbling around coming up with your own squeeze page and mailing list strategy which might fail. Instead, by going with a tried and proven industry standard, you can improve on mailing list practices that already exist. You just need to perfect whatever it is your competitors are already doing. Step number 2. Find the right email marketing platform. This step is crucial. In fact, it's so important that it only comes second in importance to step number 1. You have to have the right technology workhorse to ensure your mailing list business is a success. You have to understand that you cannot do email marketing manually. It's physically impossible. Even if you have a list of only 500 people, sending email updates to those people one by one is going to drive you nuts. You have to sign up to the right email marketing platform that would automate all mail delivery. You might think that this is a pretty simple process. It isn't. It's very hard to manually keep track of people signing up and unsubscribing to your list. You may be able to get away with it if you only have a handful of members, but once your mailing list starts to grow, it can easily get out of hand. Pay attention to key common features of email marketing platforms. Automated autoresponder sequence. Regardless of the platform you go with, they must have a way of enabling you to schedule emails to send to each and every one of your list members on a scheduled basis. For example, if somebody joined your list on Monday, they get the email update for day 1. On Tuesday, they get the email update for day 2. When another person signs up for your mailing list on Friday, they get day 1's update, and so on and so forth. In other words, your mailing list platform must be automated and powerful enough to market to all your list members on an individually scheduled basis. This is crucial if you want your autoresponder email sequence to turn your list members into buyers. Powerful universal update features. Sometimes you need to send an update to all your mailing list. For example, if you're holding a sale or you have some important news to share, you need to be able to reach everybody at one time. Your mailing list platform must be able to deliver your email to its recipients. Otherwise, it's failed at its job. Unfortunately, not all email marketing platforms do a good job in delivering your email. 4 powerful players stand out. Aweber, GetResponse, MailChimp, and Constant Contact stand out amongst the rest. These services have a solid gold reputation for getting past spam filters. They are so trusted by mail services like Gmail and Yahoo Mail that their emails usually get through. Deliverability is crucial, regardless of whether you are sending autoresponder text or sending a late-breaking update. Insist on email templates. Sometimes you just don't have the time to compose emails. To make things easier on yourself, you probably would want to use a template. This is an email that's been formatted a certain way. There are email systems that are purely template-driven, like Aweber. Others expect you to come up with your own email design each and every time. Others tend to push you to using text-only emails. Pay attention to squeeze page or email sign-up page builders. Let's face it, most list marketers are not very good at web design and coding pages. Unfortunately, if you want to come up with an online form, you have to know some basic web design and coding. Thankfully, some platforms have ready-made email list sign-up templates. You can just make certain changes to graphics, color, and font, as well as the text of these pages. GetResponse is far and away the best choice for ready-made email sign-up forms or squeeze pages. It really all depends on your needs. If you are looking for something that looks very professional and is easy to use, GetResponse is probably a good choice. If you know your way around HTML, you probably would be better off with Aweber or MailChimp. Consider alternatives to email list recruitment page designs. One alternative you can try for building your own squeeze pages is a service called Lead Pages. This online service enables you to use a 2-step process to get people to sign up to your mailing list. This is a very powerful alternative to how email lists are normally presented on a page. Usually, people load a page, and they would see the email form where they can enter their email address and their name. They would then click a Submit button, and they would get their freebie. The problem with this one-step layout is that it doesn't really qualify people based on how eager they are for whatever it is you are offering to give your page visitors in exchange for the email address. Maybe they're just curiosity seekers. Perhaps they just want the freebie. Most likely, they didn't read the email form correctly. Whatever the case may be, they enter their email address, and you end up with a list squatter. This is a person who just stays on your list without reading your emails, or worse yet, buying anything. Lead Pages solves this problem by enabling you to use a 2-step opt-in system. People have to click an add link to end up at a page where they can actually enter the email address. By using this 2-step process, only truly motivated or genuinely interested list members are attracted by your offer. Sure, this may result in a lower subscription, but you have more peace of mind as to the quality of list members you will attract. Step number 3. Decide on your list incentive. Let's get one thing straight. People are not going to sign up to your mailing list just because. It is not like they don't have anything else better to do. You have to give them a compelling reason to sign up for your mailing list. There has to be something in it for them. This is where incentives come in. You're going to give away something for free, which adds value to your potential list members' lives. They would look at these incentives as ethical bribes. You're bribing them to join your mailing list. It's not enough to promise that you're going to give them great information regarding the niche they are interested in. Anybody can make that claim. To create the perception of value in the minds of your potential list members, you have to step up and give them a very powerful incentive. Now the next question becomes, what kind of incentive should you offer? The bad news is that it depends. I wish I could tell you that there is some sort of one-size-fits-all or universal answer to this question. There isn't. The winning incentive varies from niche to niche. It also varies based on the sources of traffic that you have. Accordingly, you have to play it by ear. Ideally, you should offer the 10 common types of incentives that I'm going to lay out below. You should offer them in sequence. Once you've gone through all 10, look through your conversion records and pick the incentives that got the most signups. That's the best way to know. Anybody could tell you that you should give away booklets or simply update people, but that's assuming too much. People who are interested in your niche might prefer something else. The best way to find the right incentive is to simply go through all 10 common incentives and pick the best performing type. Once you have found the highest converting type, then you can optimize as to which specific giveaway of that type works the best. I hope we're clear here. You have to go through this list. There are 10 common types of incentives you can offer. Here they are. Topic-based email series. This incentive spoon-feeds list members answers to the common problems they may have. The value add is the content they receive in their emails. People who sign up for this type of mailing list incentive expect that you would be sending them pre-programmed emails that would lead them through common problems associated with the niche they're interested in. You would start at the beginning, then teach them a few things, after which you then send another email which teaches the recipient another set of solutions, so on and so forth. This incentive gives you a tremendous opportunity to build expertise. You're not laying out all your expertise at once. Instead, you are sharing to the recipient certain solutions, which gives them enough time to implement until the next set of solutions comes. Cheat sheet. A cheat sheet is just one simple document. It may be a one-page item, or it can run several pages. Whatever form it takes, it is topic-based. A cheat sheet just focuses on one specific topic and breaks it down. The cheat sheets are very popular because they tend to highlight easy-to-know or easy-to-overlook information. People are constantly looking for stripped-down info. They don't have time. They just want to scan something that would give them the right answers as quickly as possible. They are also looking for something that spells out the answer in the simplest terms. It's easy to see the value of cheat sheets. It's no surprise that this form of mailing list incentive is quite popular. Template giveaway. Templates are very popular because people do not want to screw around with solving problems from scratch. They'd rather work with an existing template that they can just plug in specific information. Of course, template giveaways don't work across the board. While you can probably get a lot of subscribers for resume templates, you probably won't get as many takers if the template addresses something that is so specific or so abstract that it is not really all that relevant. Templates can work, but it all depends on your mailing list niche. Complete starter kit. You can compile all the solutions to a specific problem and give people access via an email link. Typically, this would involve people signing up to your squeeze page and being redirected to an online resource or a PDF file that compiles all the content the reader needs to solve a problem. This content can take many different forms. It can be a series of videos, audio files, or links to PDFs, or even other websites. The big value add here is the fact that you are compiling all these answers and putting them in one place. It solves the problem the user has in a very comprehensive way. Step-by-step plan. Oftentimes, when people are faced with a problem, they simply do not know where to start. Even if they have a fairly general idea of the solution, they don't have a plan to attack the problem in a comprehensive and clear way. A step-by-step plan enables you to guide the reader to solve the problem effectively. Case studies. Everybody likes a good story. If anything, most people would like to see stories involving changes to other people's lives, before and after something happened. These personal stories draw people in. They were able to connect on a person-to-person basis. You can use these case studies to not only build up your mailing list, but also to upsell whatever service or product your company is promoting. You can even upsell members who sign up to your mailing list for case studies to other mailing lists. The possibilities are endless. Case studies work in most niches, but this is not a slam dunk across the board. Keep that in mind. Latest and greatest news. This is my personal favorite. You have to understand that when you're giving away some sort of bribe for somebody to join your mailing list, you run the risk of attracting people who only sign up for the bribe. It doesn't matter whether you're giving out software, cheat sheets, booklets, books, templates, or whatnot. There's a chance that your mailing list might be filled with list squatters. This is the kind of risk you run. On the other hand, if you promote the updates that people would get by signing up to your list, there's a strong chance that the people ending up in your list would actually read your emails. They would not be list squatters who ignore the updates that you send. As you probably already know, you will only make money off your mailing list when people actually bother to open and read them. Showcase the latest and greatest news in your niche. Make the value of this information clear to potential list members. Unfortunately, this is not a strong value proposition for all niches. If you run a news website for a very specific niche, a newsletter would be a great way to build up your mailing list. On the other hand, if you are in a niche where developments tend to come very slowly or people have a fixed idea as to what the problems are and these don't seem to change, you might not get many takers for your newsletter. Offering the latest and greatest news works best for niches that have constant developments. Canned webinars. Webinars are video-based seminars. You can upload these on YouTube and spoon-feed the URLs of these videos via email. You should also include a quick cheat sheet or a summary of the information contained in the video seminars with each of your emails. Let's face it, people don't really want to read a ton of text to learn something new. When given a chance, most people would rather watch a short video to learn a specific solution. This is why, not surprisingly, a lot of people love video-based seminars, as long as these seminars deliver solutions that people are actively searching for. These make for great mailing list incentives. Software. While the internet is filled with free software, it seems that people can't get enough apps, macros, or other software products. As long as they solve a specific problem people face, you can bet that offering this free software in exchange for emails will help you build up your mailing list fairly quickly. The secret to offering software as a list incentive revolves around specificity. The more specific the software is to a problem related to people interested in your niche, the higher the chance your squeeze page will convert. However, if you're offering some sort of generic software that people can get elsewhere or a software that addresses a vague problem that may seem to be related to your niche, you might have a tougher time. Keep that in mind. Also, please note that software is not exactly cheap to code. You can build your own software or, more likely, you're going to have to hire somebody to code it for you. This might cost you quite a bit of money. Graphics packages. Depending on your niche, people might be interested in downloading a free package of icons, badges, photos, or other graphical materials. While this makes for a great incentive for niches that involve online promotions, web design, web development, it doesn't apply across the board. For example, if you are targeting the weight loss niche, few people would be interested in seeing photos of fit people. They know they need to lose weight. They don't need photos of slim people to remind them of that problem. Instead, they're looking for other types of content to address their issue. Custom consultation. If you really want to turbocharge the number of people joining your list, you might want to consider giving out custom consultations. These involve people contacting you via Skype and you taking them through a problem. You have to tightly define the kind of consultation you have with people. Otherwise, you might sink into a time black hole. Seriously, there are people out there that just love to talk. They would chat your ear off if you let them. Your consultation must be focused on a very targeted problem, so as to minimize the amount of time you spend with a list member. Remember, there will be people who would sign up for your mailing list just to consult with you, and then once the consultation is over, they would unsubscribe from your list. Factor this into the amount of time you spend on custom consultations. Personally, I would research the most frequently asked questions, so I would basically just copy and paste this material into the custom consultation. Tweak it a little bit and get that consultation down to as close to 1 minute as possible. You don't want to spend too much time on custom consultations. Ideally, you should outsource this to somebody who would copy and paste specific answers to common questions. Key takeaway for incentives. The key takeaway here should be obvious. Giving away a book or booklet for people to sign up to your mailing list is simply not enough. You have to figure out the industry standard giveaway for your niche and try to outdo the stuff that other people are giving away. Ideally, you should go through all 10 incentives above and pick out the most effective one. It all boils down to coming up with something better or something that has a greater perception of value. Avoid this problem. As I have mentioned earlier, there are going to be people who join your list just for the freebie. These are list squatters. To some extent, you really can't afford these people. You basically have to accept the fact that a certain percentage of your list will be squatters. Your job is to get that percentage as close to zero as possible. One way to nip this problem in the bud is to sell people on the value of your list. While your squeeze page should do a good job selling the value of your incentive, you should also talk about what they would get in the email updates you'll be sending them. You should be clear that once they join, they will be receiving emails. Highlight the value those emails contain. Otherwise, when people start receiving emails, they would either unsubscribe or, worse yet, they won't unsubscribe. They would just take up space on your email roster. Depending on the email service provider you go with, you might get charged for the amount of list squatters you have. It may well turn out that only 1% of your mailing list of 100,000 people actually engage with your emails. These are people who actually open and read and click through your email. 99,000 people, on the other hand, are simply squatting on your list. Depending on your list provider, you might have to pay for those people. Avoid this unnecessary drama by spelling out the value of list membership in addition to the freebie you're handing out. Also, when people download the freebie, highlight the value of the email on the confirmation or freebie download page. The key here is to prevent people from being surprised by your email updates after they have downloaded your incentive. You really can't blame people for ignoring your emails if you focus so much of your time on the incentive and people don't get a clear idea that they will actually be receiving email updates from you. Step number 4. Create and feature top-notch list incentives. Now that you have a clear idea of what incentives you can offer for your list, the next step is to come up with incentives that will position your list for success. There are 2 ways to do this. As I've mentioned in step number 3, you can just go through the list of incentives and pick which ones work the best with your particular traffic source. The alternative is to simply do what your competitors are doing. Pay attention to their incentives. Reverse engineer your competitors' incentives. Start with the industry standard incentive type by signing up to your competitors' mailing lists. Get a copy of their incentives. Study their materials very closely. Try to figure out their strong points and their weak points. Come up with something better by offering the same strong points while at the same time avoiding any of the weak spots. Let's face it, regardless of how tight and awesome your competitors' incentives may be, there's always room for improvement. Figure out these areas and create something better. Remember, there are 2 ways to play this. You can actually come up with something objectively better, or you can produce something that is perceived as something better. Whatever the case may be, it has to be better. How do you produce a better incentive? This is the question that's begging to be asked. Now that we're clear that we have to come up with an incentive that either blows the competition out of the water or is perceived to be better, how exactly do we go about doing that? Here are some ideas. First, you can offer an incentive that is complete. In other words, when you study your competitors' incentives, they might be holding back on certain pieces of information. They might be offering really basic information. If you came up with an incentive that is fully complete, you will stand head and shoulders above your competitors. Word might even get around that the incentive that you deliver truly solves the problem that your target customers have in a very thorough way. Another approach you could take is to simply offer longer content. For example, if your biggest competitor is offering a free booklet that lists out 10 solutions to potential list members' problems, Offer a booklet that offers 20, 30, or even 50 solutions. The key here is to come up with an incentive that, on face value, is so vastly superior that people can't help but sign up for it. Don't just go with doubling your competitor. Blow them out of the water by a magnitude of 5 to 1 or 10 to 1. If the industry standard is to offer 10 solutions, come up with 50 or even 100 solutions. Like it or not, people tend to equate longer products with higher value products. Of course, you and I know that this is not necessarily the case, but there is that mental bias. Alternatively, you can offer an incentive that is more engaging to people. For example, the industry standard in your niche might involve really complicated or jargon-filled materials for all sorts of products. When you read through this, it seems like you have to be some sort of brain surgeon or a rocket scientist to make heads or tails of these materials. What if you were to come up with an incentive that is written in plain 8th grade English and actually engages people on an emotional level? Your incentive will blow everybody else away because your stuff is more accessible and easier to process. What use is a seemingly complete incentive when it's written in ancient Greek? Do you see where I'm coming from? Focus on engagement. Understand that the people who will be downloading your incentives are flesh and blood human beings with real problems. Start there. Finally, you can offer basically the same industry standard incentive as your competitors, but you packaged it better. When people read the same information, but it's formatted in a nice PDF with lots of helpful pictures and everything is written in a well-spaced, well-formatted way, don't be surprised that people walk away with the impression that you have a better incentive. It turns out that you're offering the exact same information. The only thing that's different is that you formatted it in a way that is more accessible, easier to process, and most importantly, easier to act upon. Reverse engineer your competitors' squeeze pages. Now that you have reverse engineered your competitors' incentives, the next step is to design a better page to give away that incentive. Again, your notes and your competitors will come in handy here. You need to come up with squeeze pages that would blow everybody else out of the water. How do you do this? Well, you can come up with better design. Maybe everybody is using the same standard design. You can start there, but come up with different elements to get visitors to engage with your page better. You should also study how your competitors' squeeze pages focus, present, and position their incentive. Are they missing something? Do they forget to highlight certain things? Maybe they're just assuming that people who land on the squeeze page would automatically want the incentive. Come up with a squeeze page that shines the spotlight more clearly and more efficiently on your incentive. Finally, you can reverse engineer your competitors' squeeze pages in such a way that the value proposition this page brings to the table is clearer. You have to remember that people are always asking, "What's in it for me?" You have to answer that question loud and clear. The value proposition that you bring to the table must be compelling enough for people to want to leave their email address. Make sure to do this. Based on my many years of list marketing, I can tell you that the vast majority of list marketers automatically assume that when people sign up for their list, they would actually welcome the updates. This is why most list marketers fail. You cannot assume this. Like I said earlier, there's a certain percentage of your visitors that are going to be list squatters. If you're not careful, this percentage can keep growing until they form the majority of your list. You have to make sure to emphasize the value of the updates on your list. You have to do this right before they sign up by including such text in the squeeze page. You also have to do this on the confirmation page that they get. You should tell them that they're getting the booklet, template, book, or whatever incentive you're offering, but they're also going to be getting very useful updates. You may want to invest some time highlighting the value these updates will bring to the lives of your list members. If you fail to do this, you run the risk of building a list full of squatters. Worse yet, people might be surprised that you're sending updates and might consider your email spam. You probably don't need me to tell you why that's bad news. Do yourself a big favor and emphasize the value of the updates of your list, because this is the only reason why you're giving out incentives in the first place. By getting all caught up in the incentive you're giving away, you end up sabotaging the success of your list. Make sure to keep your priorities straight. Otherwise, your list marketing business might go belly up sooner or later. Create a two-step list recruitment setup. A lot of list marketers are under the impression that the more people that join their list, the better. I'm telling you, the whole idea of the more the merrier doesn't work in list marketing. In many cases, you'd be making a lot more money having less people on your list than having a bloated list of squatters or uninterested people. You have to make sure that only people who are truly interested in the value of your updates get on and stay on your list. One very powerful way to do this is to create a two-step list recruitment setup. A lot of list marketers set up their lead capture pages in such a way that when you load a page, you only need to enter your email address and your name and click the submit button. That's all you need to do. Automatically, you'll get a confirmation and you are on their list. The confirmation page usually has a download link to their incentive that you signed up for. This is going to be a problem because this can attract curiosity seekers. This can attract people who are not really all that interested, but are just curious as to the incentive that they would get. In other words, you risk attracting all the wrong eyeballs. You have to set up your list in such a way where the prospect has to click a button to get to the form. This added step filters out curiosity seekers. Your form gets in front of the eyeballs of people who are more motivated. They have to read an ad or text that spells out the opportunity and benefit of your list. They then click through to get to the squeeze page form. In other words, you qualify them before you sign them up to your list. Either way, if you do this right, your form should talk about the benefits of the mailing list. This two-step process can go a long way in eliminating curiosity seekers and ensuring that people who sign up for your list are more likely to read your updates. Modern email marketing. Modern email marketing uses a two-step email recruitment process. When people click through to the email form, they're essentially asking to opt in after they have become aware of the incentives. In other words, they already know what's in it for them. They are looking to establish a relationship with you. They want to give you permission to continue talking to them. Using this two-step process is less intimidating, and they also are given the impression that they're calling the shots. It's their choice whether to click through to the form or not. Another great benefit of modern email marketing's two-step email sign-up process is that this enables you to offer different incentives at different parts of your blog page. When people load your content, they see different ads for different lists. When they read the ad, they learn about the value that the list would deliver, and then they click through to join that list. You get a lot of control over your mailing list because you can qualify people based on their interest. Different people with different needs would sign up to different lists. This segmented email marketing approach can lead to higher conversion rates. Instead of just dumping everybody who's interested in a wide range of problems related to your niche on one general mailing list, you end up with highly filtered lists speaking to different problems. You can then offer laser-targeted solutions to each of these lists and walk away with better conversions.